Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen. I am Duane from Two Goalies, One Mic. Normally, I get at you guys right after the game. Obviously, last night being a 9 o'clock p.m. start. And I won't lie, I was watching the Royal Rumble. WWE doesn't ever fail to disappoint, even in the biggest pay-per-views of the year. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched yet. Brock Lesnar, after losing to Bobby Lashley due to Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman interference, goes on to win the Men's Royal Rumble, entering in at number 30, which literally anybody who's watched this product for the last 5 years knows that was going to happen. Return of Ronda Rousey in the Royal Rumble, winning the women's Royal Rumble match. So that was pretty cool. Pretty big pop there. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns put on a classic. Rollins coming down, dressed in his Shield get up, coming down to the Shield entrance music through the crowd. Absolutely amazing. Did the Shield power bomb through the announce table. It was absolutely amazing. And there's a dreadful way for that pay-per-view to end, or that match to end with Roman Reigns DQing himself essentially. So, and then I think there was, the Miz, the It couple versus the Grit couple. The Grit couple comes through. I believe they, it was a double spear. I mean, I can't remember the finish. It was a double spear or double, Beth Phoenix, her finishing maneuver. I can't remember exactly the finish, but and it's ups and downs, it's cool moments, and the down moments. But overall, I'd probably give it like a C+ to a B because a lot of open-ended storylines that I came out of that very confused. But that's not what we're here to talk. We're here to talk about the Buffalo Sabres' big win last night against the Arizona Coyotes, 3-1. Craig Anderson returns after a very weird 36 hours of not really sure who's playing goalie for the Buffalo Sabres after Michael Hauser entered COVID protocol. Actually, just about 10-15 minutes ago, Aaron Dell cleared waivers as well. Just for those of you who didn't know that yet, Aaron Dell was put on waivers yesterday, and he just cleared per Elliot Friedman. But Anderson comes up big in his return to the ice. 27 saves, is actually his first start in 32 games in 88 days. He wasn't supposed to start originally. Obviously, it was supposed to be Hauser. But, I guess they felt, confident enough in Anderson for him to be the backup. That means, you always got to be ready to play even as a backup, obviously. So they put him in net, and he comes up big with 27 saves, especially there in the third period where Arizona was really pressing it on. They pulled their goalie with a little over 3 minutes left, down by 2. And Anderson shut the door a lot. So a lot to talk about. Goals coming from Kyle Okposo, who's having himself, a great year. And then Peyton Krebs continuing to impress Buffalo Sabres fans, and Alex Tuch on a very nice give and go passing play between him and Alex Tuch. That I know Tage Thompson was hurting quite a bit last night. I want to say that might have been a power play goal on the Tuch tap-in, but him and Peyton Krebs looked phenomenal together. There's a lot of chemistry there, and I'd like to see more of them two together, even if it's just a power play. I personally like to see them on the line together in some capacity, but them two look very good together. So, Eric, I think last night is probably the best we've seen this team cycle the puck in a very long time, possibly all season. Peyton, just it was very fluid through all three zones. With a little bit maybe there in the first period. Again, I was, watching the Royal Rumble while I was watching this game. I was streaming it, and there were some parts I missed, but for the most part, they controlled most of that game, with the exception a little bit there in the first period. And when they were up by 2 and Arizona had their goalie pulled, they were a little bit on their heels there in the third period. I just, I liked what I saw. Granted, it's against a very, very, very bad Arizona Coyotes team. A team that's probably going to be in the hunt, not probably will be in the hunt for the first overall pick, the Shane Wright sweepstakes. even though there's a lot of talk about like Logan Cooley possibly being the guy too out of the United States development program, possibly being a guy who might really push to be that first overall pick. But neither her, just to get over go over the game itself again. Points: Alex Tuck and Peyton Krebs with 2 apiece, a goal and assist each. Jacob Bryson with assist, Cody Eakin with assist, Casey Middlestat with a nice assist on that 2-on-1 goal for Peyton Krebs. Kyle Okposo with a goal and Tage Thompson with an assist. And as I mentioned earlier, Craig Anderson with 27 saves in his return for Buffalo. And Shane Gostisbehere with the lone goal for the Arizona Coyotes, Ghost Bear, with assists going to both Keller and Kessel. They in a back-to-back, they play the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Obviously, you're going from, that's night and day difference when it comes to talent level. I don't know if they plan on starting Craig Anderson. I would find it hard to believe that they would go right back to Anderson, especially with they weren't even sure if he was 100% to perform as the backup. Well, they felt confident enough for him to be the backup last night against Arizona. Obviously he was forced into a situation they weren't planning for. No one could predict that Michael Hauser, in the worst of all luck, the most cursed hockey franchise in sports right now, the Buffalo Sabres, having a goalie go on COVID protocol when you're already on your 7th or 8th goalie of the season. Like, we're not even halfway in, boys. And hey, not to mention, who was it? Rasmus Dahlin entered COVID protocol yesterday as well. News that none of us really were expecting. Obviously, he's expected to play in the All-Star game soon, so we'll see how that affects him and his ability to play in that game. A little worried there because, I would assume if he can't go, Tage Thompson would probably be the next guy up. He was part of that last man in vote for Buffalo to in the last man in vote for across the league, who's the last guy that's going to get in for the All-Star game. Tage Thompson was one of the nominees. I forget who got it for the Atlantic Division, but it wasn't Tage. But I would assume he would be the next guy up to play in the All-Star game this year. This season, he's already eclipsed all of his career highs in goals and points this season. Again, we're barely halfway in. But again, just a quick preview for tonight against the the Colorado Avalanche. Real quick, just taking a quick look. I always want to take a look at Buffalo right now. Currently sitting 14, 22, and 7. I believe they're still third last in the Atlantic Division. Currently sitting 9 points behind the Red Wings. We already know what this season is. It's not about them trying to climb the standings and be in a playoff spot, especially at this point in the year. They would have to really go on an insane run to really get themselves back into a position to even think about like the eighth spot in the East to possibly contend for the playoffs. But I going in here, sorry guys, just going to take a look at the schedule real quick. I know we got a big slate for NFL playoff today. I was Cincinnati and Kansas City at 3:00. Personally, I know there are a lot of Bills fans out there who don't want to see Joe Burrow make a Super Bowl before Josh Allen, but I can't stand to see Kansas City in another Super Bowl. So for me, I'm going with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm hoping they pull through and win to go to the Super Bowl. I like Joe Burrow a lot. That wide receiving core is absolutely insane, and they're just going to keep getting better, just like Josh Allen and the Bills. So without further ado, quick preview for tonight. Avalanche are 31-8-3. Absolutely unbelievable record for this team. They just keep getting better every single year. Nazem Kadri on an absolute tear this season, on an playing at an MVP level, most would say. Which I think that's probably the biggest surprise for them in terms of that roster and what they expected. Obviously, you would expect your guys like Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Cale Makar, those guys to be like your role players, your leading scorers. Not Nazem Kadri, who's usually your secondary scoring guy. Again, absolutely playing at an unreal level right now. With that being said, again, they sit first in the Central Division, again, with a 31-8-3 record with 65 points, 177 goals for, 125 against, 52 goal differential. Next closest team would be the Predators with 58. Again, another team that's kind of surprising the NHL. Not really many expected them to really contend the way they are this season. But with that being said, just kind of trying to take a look at their scoring leaders right now. Obviously, sorry for the delay. My internet's running crazy slow today. Leading them in scoring right now would be. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. All right, you have Nazem Kadri leading them 58 points in 39 games. Next up would be Mikko Rantanen, 51 points in 39 games. Gabriel Landeskog, 44 points in 34 games. And then Nathan MacKinnon with 43 points in 31 games. Some would say this is a down year for Nathan MacKinnon, and he's more than a point per game player. Cale Makar with 43 points in 38 games. Guy also playing at an MVP level right now. If I was a betting man, I would say this year's MVP is probably coming out of the Colorado Avalanche. Burakovsky, obviously 34 points in 40 games. I mean, we look at these point totals from these players. We look at Buffalo's. It's just again, night and day. So they obviously have their work cut out for them tonight. Starting goaltenders, I'd assume it'll be Francois. He's been playing very well. Darcy Kemper, I don't think has really lived up to the expectations that most kind of had out for him. But again, we'll see what happens here tonight. I just, games like tonight make me really dread the goaltending situation in Buffalo. I don't know if they've announced yet. I'll take a quick look here if we know who's starting in net yet for Buffalo. Let's take a quick look from Lance Lyasowski if he's reported it yet. It has not been reported yet who's starting in net. Last thing reported was Aaron Dell cleared waivers, and that was about 37 minutes ago. Personally, I would like to see Craig Anderson in net. After last night's performance, I've always agreed with rewarding good play with more ice time, whether you're a forward or a goaltender or a defenseman or a goaltender. Craig Anderson played unbelievably well, and called upon in a time where he probably wasn't expecting to play going into this road trip. And he played unbelievable. Came up big for Buffalo in a situation where had fans not really knowing who was going to be playing net. And Dustin Tokarski obviously cleared to play, came out of COVID protocol and backed him up. So maybe we see Dustin Tokarski tonight. I'm not really too sure. With that being said, though, my predictions for tonight, I'm not even to try and be optimistic about it. As great as Buffalo played last night, it was against the Arizona Coyotes. You're playing against a completely different animal tonight in the Colorado Avalanche. I'm going to say it's going to be a 5-2 victory for Colorado. Maybe goals going to, I think Peyton Krebs and Alex Tuck kind of keep up their pace and the play they've been playing. We'll get maybe a couple goals from them. And if it's Craig Anderson in net, sorry, Craig. Sorry to put you in this situation. So kind of early coming back from that injury that, kept you out for 88 days, 32 games in 88 days. But I don't see you being, even if you played as well as you did last night, that lineup is just so lethal. Again, Makar, Rantanen, Landeskog, Kadri, MacKinnon, they're just top to bottom most deep team in the NHL, and they're getting good goaltending right now. So I would one thing I would say though, seeing how much of a difference a guy like Craig Anderson makes, I don't think it's really out of this realm to say that if Craig Anderson hadn't gotten hurt, this would be probably a 500 hockey team right now. I'm not saying we'd be pushing for a playoff spot, but I think goaltending has dramatically affected this team's ability to win hockey games, especially close hockey games. We've seen this team blow a lot of leads where they're up to sometimes even 3-0 or 2-1, 3-1, and can't get games into the garage. And part of that has been goaltending from whether it was Michael Hauser, Aaron Dell. UPL played very well while he was up before his injury, but you've essentially had ECHL level goaltending playing most of the season for you, and they just have not been up to par for the NHL, and they've cost you games. So I like to think that if Craig Anderson had been playing all season, had not got hurt, this would be a 500 hockey team. I you know, as a goalie, as a goalie, your play can really dictate the play of your team in front of you. If your team has confidence in you, they play differently. They play a little bit looser. They're willing to take more chances. They're not gripping their sticks or playing on their heels as often. But when your team can't really trust you in net, they play differently, man. They play more timid. You can't really play your game. It's so true. It absolutely is. And if you could have had Anderson playing this entire season, now I know it's asking a lot of a 41-year-old goaltender. But I think you're looking at a team that, might be, sixth, fifth, or fourth in the Atlantic right now. Again, I'm not saying to be pushing for a playoff spot. It's, already halfway into the year, and you're 9 points there's 9 points separating you and Detroit for 7th place in the Atlantic. So again, I'm not even going to try and be optimistic about that. You're definitely going to be sellers at deadline. Guys like Colin Miller, when he gets back from injury, Cody Eakin should be gone. I think, you might even see a guy like Jacob Bryson get dealt, because I don't know if he's in the Sabres long-term plans. I don't know. And a lot of the obvious faces too, guys that'll be gone as well. I think guys like Zemgus Girgensons and Kyle Okposo are safe, not just because of their contracts. I think they've played big roles for Buffalo this year, especially in the locker room. I think they've really taken the responsibility of being assistant captains very seriously, and they've shown it on the ice. Kyle Okposo has really had a reemerged as a player that I think if he'd been utilized like this for the last couple of years, we wouldn't have been always so down on Kyle Okposo. I mean, it's not like he's scoring at an insane pace, but I don't think any of us would have expected this from Kyle Okposo coming into the season. So I don't mind having him around even for another year, just because of what he's probably providing in the locker room and off the ice, as well contributing on the ice. So, we'll see. Jeff Skinner scoring at a 30-plus goals pace this year. I don't know if anyone really expected that, especially when you don't really have a legitimate elite number one center. I know Tage Thompson's having a great year, but he's no Jack Eichel. So I didn't expect that either. So, the individual development of a lot of these players, I think has been on track. And not to mention with what we're going to be looking forward to come next year, or maybe even possibly the end of this season, guys like Owen Power, who's, having a Hobie Baker like season in Michigan, getting ready to go represent his country for Team Canada in the Olympics in Beijing, along with Devin Levi, goaltender from Northwestern, having an unbelievable Ryan Miller-esque season when Ryan Miller played for Michigan State. He's putting up like his numbers are like insanely close to what Ryan Miller's was when he won the Hobie Baker. So a lot to look forward to out of what the youth is bringing for this team. We got here 14 minutes till kickoff. I don't want to keep you guys for too much longer. We've already been on for about 20 minutes. But with that being said, drop your predictions in the comments below. We have a few comments here from Paramat Pictures. Front of the program, Matt. You like the Rocket intro? Absolutely. Holy shit, you shaved. Yeah, I had to. Definitely had to. It was getting out of control, especially after the Bills lost this. I just cut it all off. And Krebs nickname the Kreblin. I like it. Thanks, Matt. You're always in the comments for us. Obviously, Twitter comments are down right now. So if you do want to leave a comment, you just got to follow us at Trainwreck Sports or at Two Goalies One Mic on YouTube to leave a comment whenever we do go live. Again, we appreciate anything you guys have to offer in terms of criticism of the team, me, being a newly shaven, hairy mess here. Appreciate it all. So with that being said, this is another episode of I'll Hang Up and Listen. Again, sorry I didn't get to you guys last night, but it's been a few games since I've been on. Sabres haven't really given much. I won't lie. I've had trouble staying awake during games as of late. I hate admitting that, but it's true. And unless I've watched the whole game, I really don't want to, come on here and give you my analysis unless I've seen, from first period to the end of the third, which I was able to for the most part last night. And again, an unbelievable effort for the Buffalo Sabres against the Arizona Coyotes, a team that was announced last week this past week. Doesn't really know where they're going to be playing for the foreseen future. I know there was talks about them, playing at Arizona State University and their 5,000 seat ice arena there. But I mean, just move the team. Like, just move them. Like, I don't understand. I know Gary Bettman and Angela, they hate doing that. They try and want to make hockey work in large markets, but it is not working in Arizona. It's never really worked in Arizona. Like, it just hasn't. And I don't you could put Austin Matthews on that team right now, and people still aren't showing up. They just aren't. So for me, I would just rather them just move that team to either, move them to Austin, Texas, or move them to Quebec. They deserve a hockey team. They deserve to have their hockey team back. Move them to Quebec. Screw it. I mean, I don't understand what the league is waiting for. Hockey is not working in Arizona. It just isn't. So, but again, with that being said, this has been another edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. Get over to Outlet Liquor on George River Boulevard for all your game day or game night needs. Tell them Two Goalies with Mike and Trainwreck Sports sent you. And just 3 words, let's go Sabres.